Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, no, Mark, that is not Olympic. It's been a while, guys. Sorry about that. The last few weeks, you guys obviously know we've not had a live stream. A few things were going on, but we are back. It is Friday evening. It is 7 p.m., and you know what that means. It's time to go. Live stream is up. Welcome, Mark, Steve, Max, Karen. Welcome, everyone aboard. So, as you guys know, last week we were supposed to be back. I was not intending to not have a live stream last week. Unfortunately, Hurricane Francine hit this area. As a result, I had no internet. So there was no way for me to live stream, at least not in this format. I mean, I guess I could have, did something on my phone using my data, but it's okay. The week before it was just personal stuff, a family event. That's why I was not live streaming the week before that. But we're going to be back on our regular schedule now for the foreseeable future, unless something comes up. Joining us on the shelf this week are three ships we're definitely going to be talking about this evening. USS Kidd up there at the top, good old DD 661. The Big USS United States. And last but not least, Titanic. All are going to be in our topics this week. So, without further ado, we're going to hop right into things, and this is how we are going to start. So, I know some of you have been wondering, how did the Kidd fare in Hurricane Francine? As you know, we've all known for a while, of course. Kidd is in dry dock in Houma, Louisiana, and Houma was not hit head on by the hurricane, but it took the hard one of the hardest hit areas of the storm was in fact Houma. So, how did the Kidd do? Mark says, well, before we do that, Mark says, did you see the new Ocean Gate Titan footage? I did, Mark. I was actually watching a bit of that right here leading up to the moments where I went live. We are going to be talking about the Titan sub tonight as well. But first, let's talk about the Kidd here real quick. Some of you were wondering, how did the Kidd fare in the hurricane? The Kidd did just fine. She's perfectly fine. What we're looking at, this is an image from the Kidd's Facebook page. And I'm moving the mouse here, you can see this this beam or whatever, the series of beams. And you're seeing all this torn tarp, canvas, whatever you want to call it. That was the only damage the ship sustained, was right there. And I'll get the model to show you so you can have a good idea of what we're looking at. So normally when she's in Baton Rouge and you would go to tour the ship, this is of course the starboard side. You come in. You enter the tour right here at the stern on the starboard side, and there's like this big canvas overhang that is not original to the ship that you walk under, and you got somebody right there taking your ticket, and then you proceed forward on the starboard side to start the tour, be it either guided or self-guided. That was the only damage that the ship endured, and from what I understood, if I read correctly, that thing was pretty old, and they were looking to replace that anyway. So let's move on to another picture. Again, this is also on the kids' page. This looks really nice here. Looks like they've finished blasting the hull. And they've got like this, I don't know, light haze gray or whatever you want to call it. So you can see progress on the ship is moving along pretty well, actually. Doesn't look like there's any serious issues. And yeah, she's looking good right here. Going back to the Titan, Mark says, crew capsule was crushed back towards the aft titanium end cap. Yeah. I'm not going to show those pictures on here, Mark, but like I said, we will be discussing it. Steve says, that's great to hear, referring to the Kidd. You know, she made it through, just fine. Mark says, Kidd survived. Good, yes. This isn't the Kidd's first rodeo. Remember, Kidd got to Baton Rouge in 1982. That's when she arrived in Baton Rouge as a museum ship. She's endured many hurricanes, that have come through southeast Louisiana, because, Baton Rouge is, of course, prone to hurricanes as well. But I was talking with someone, and I'm assuming that it is Tim Nesmith, who is the superintendent of the museum. I think he's the one that runs the Kidd's Facebook page. And I mentioned that Kidd is in very small company now. With a certain little fun, here's a little fun stat, basically. As far as like World War II museum ships, now strictly as museum ships, not as a regular ocean-going vessel, just as a museum ship, Kidd is one of only 2 World War II museum ships I can think of that has rode out a hurricane in 2 different cities. There's only one other one that I am aware of. Can anyone guess what that other ship is? I'm going to catch up on the comments while I wait for you guys to reply. Max says she's looking good. Yep, referring to the Kidd. She's looking really good. Steve says, wow, a lot of oil canning is more visible. Yep. Mark says Kidd is going to look great in Dazzle. She most certainly will. And speaking of which, actually, I'm going to move the mouse over here real quick. You see this this railing, guys, right here, and then you look a little further aft, and you see the like the mesh netting that's all around the rest of the ship. This gate right here is where you actually enter the ship for the museum tours. No, Mark, it's not SS Rex. Steve says, haha, James, you got me hooked on watching Museum Ship Mafia podcasts. They're great. And in fact, they did one recently. I think it was the night that Francine made landfall, they were there because I was watching on my phone. So yeah, their most recent episode, and Tim Nesmith, again, he is the superintendent of the Kidd Museum. He was on that podcast. But fun little story about the Kidd prior to the hurricane. Oh, and here we go. This is the side of the ship. This is the port side. And you can see, like, I don't know what you call them, like these locks, for lack of a better word. One right here, and then another one over here. This is what attaches the ship to the two giant structures that are on the bank of the Mississippi, they call them dolphins. That's what attaches the ship and keeps it in place to those structures. So those are not original to the ship either. But I went to the museum. Um, I think the weekend before the hurricane hit. So yeah, the first Friday where we didn't have a live stream, the following Sunday I went to the museum because there was a book signing. And I'll show you guys. I got the book up here on the shelf. So one of the authors of this book here, let's see. I'm trying to angle it right for the camera. Can I do it? Can I do it? Yeah, there we go. Right there. Destroyer Captain. The Life of Ernest E. Evans, and one of the authors, David J. Hornfisher, was doing a book signing at the museum. And so I met him. I got him to sign the book, as you can see there. And I met and hung out with Park Stevenson for a little while. This is the first time I got to meet Parks. Billy, what's up? How are you doing? What you streaming tonight? Are you doing Call of Duty in a little while? But anyway, yeah, I got to meet and talk with Park Stevenson for a while. Great guy, very welcoming, very nice. Of course, we mostly talked about Kidd, of course, because, I mean, that's why he's there. We talked about Titanic 2 as well. Not the movie Titanic 2, but, you know, Titanic. Because, you know, he's been to Titanic. Oh, no, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're going to stop right there. So, yeah. That was a pretty cool day. So that's what I've got for the Kidd. As you saw, there was a picture of the SS United States. Let's go ahead and pivot over to what we've got concerning the SS United States. So the Conservancy sent out an email to everyone, and Mark, Titanic 2 was terrible. Oh my God. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. That should be classified as a horror movie. Clive Palmer's ship. Yeah, right. But anyway, Conservancy sent out an email for the SS United States, and basically, Penn Warehouse, being the complete douchebags that they are, I'm just going to say it because that's how I feel about it, and I don't care about being, you know, nice about it anymore. They were trying to, according to the Conservancy, Penn Warehousing was trying to block the sale of the ship to Okaloosa County in Florida. As you guys know, that county is intending to purchase the ship with the means or with the intent to sink it as an artificial reef. According to the Conservancy, Penn Warehousing was trying to block the sale and sell the ship out from underneath the Conservancy for its own personal gain. And there was like a $3 million price tag they were attaching to the deal that the Conservancy had with Okaloosa County. As a result, the Conservancy filed like an emergency motion or whatever with the court hours before the deadline, that September 12th deadline was up, to where the ship had to vacate the premises. And from what I understand, and I don't know if magistrate is the correct word, but basically as someone affiliated with the court is now going to basically supervise the sale of the ship, and I'm assuming it is still going to be sold to Okaloosa County in Florida with the intent of them buying the ship and sinking it as an artificial reef, and there will be a land-based museum dedicated to the ship. Mark says Penn Warehousing wants it gone, but yet wants it to stay. I don't think they want it to stay, Mark. I think they want it gone by all means necessary, but this was just a little underhanded thing by them to basically make some money off the ship for themselves. I'm going to read the statement that the Conservancy put on their Facebook page on September 13th. It says, the SS United States Conservancy welcomes today's court-supervised mediation in its dispute with Penn Warehousing. We are grateful that the judge's earlier order for the ship to be removed from Pier 82 was held in abeyance as we continue to work in good faith to resolve this dispute and relocate the vessel safely. We remain steadfast in our determination to ensure that the legacy of America's flagship endures and inspires future generations. While we were disappointed that Penn Warehousing continues to disparage and denigrate both the Conservancy and the historic symbol of our nation, we hope that Penn Warehousing will enter mediation in good faith. Well, they haven't yet, so there's no reason to think that they will. So hence, you've got this court-supervised mediation going on. Matt, what's up? Glad you can make it. Matt, get with me after the stream. I've got something to discuss with you. Steve says, money is what Penn Warehousing saw on this sale agreement and wanted to literally steal it away. That's my interpretation of it as well, Steve. So we definitely see eye to eye on that. So that is where we are at with the Big U. I had an idea, guys. Buddy Knight, welcome, buddy. How are you? How's your week been? Hope you had a good week, productive week. We're just talking some history and some ships here, some ship history. That's what we do. Steve says, James, did you not receive the message SSUSC posted today? No, Steve. I don't recall seeing a message from them today. Is it on their Facebook page? Because I did not get an email from the Conservancy today. Here's an idea, guys, I had. See what you guys think of this. Imagine this. Say, let's go on the assumption that the sale will happen. Okaloosa County is going to buy the ship. They're going to sink it, make it a reef. What if they were able to do something? Let's say SS United States, the final tour. And what that means is, as the ship is traveling down from Philadelphia to Florida, they will stop at certain ports along the way. And at those ports, you can board the ship and tour it, just like they're doing tours right now at the pier, like 3 or 4 different ports on the way to Florida before it arrives in Okaloosa County for them to sink it as a reef. They could use the funds that they make off of those tours to help fund the land-based museum that they're planning. So what do you guys think about that? Buddy says he's doing good and learn about the SS United States. Well, we love the SS United States here, buddy. We're big fans of the ship. I mean, well, we're big fans of a lot of different ships, but I think most of us agree that the Big U is at the top or near the top of the list for a lot of us. So anyway, that was a thought that I had about the ship. Let me know what you guys think about that. Max says, sounds interesting. Oh, nope, didn't want to go there just yet. Steve says, it's on their Facebook page, I believe. It basically stated that the removal deadline has been suspended and there are only 3 entities now involved in negotiation. Penn Warehousing, the SS United States Conservancy, and Okaloosa County. Okay, so I mean, like I said, to me, it seems at this point, the deal, unless Okaloosa County backs out of the deal for one reason or another, It seems the likely scenario is that the ship is going to be purchased by them and sunk as an artificial reef. Buddy says, can't wait for Titanic 2 to sail. Buddy, don't hold your breath, is all I'm going to tell you. Don't wait on that. Speaking of Titanic, got a little bit to discuss on Titanic. So, as you guys know, RMS Titanic Incorporated recently did an expedition to the ship, and it was an unmanned expedition. They only sent ROVs down, and of course, James Pinka with Honor and Glory was a part of that expedition. Steve says they also opened up tours available this weekend and next weekend, talking about the SS United States. Sadly, I can't get out there that quickly. It's not going to happen for me either, Steve, as much as I would like for it to happen. My budget does, I can't do it right now. I've got a cruise coming up in a couple of months I'm saving up for, plus other everyday expenses. I can't afford a trip that far away from home right now, unfortunately. Buddy says it's so sad to see it just being eaten away. Yes, we're looking at one of the recent photos from the Titanic expedition. Mark, it was a removable handrail that fell off the port side. That is correct. We're looking at this section right here of the bow railing on the port side that fell off. There is a picture of it sitting on the ocean floor next to the bow. Mike Brady did a recent video about the decaying of the Titanic and what he thinks is going to happen to the ship over the next few hundred years, actually. And Mike made a comment about this collapsed railing. It is his opinion that this was not natural degradation of the ship. It is a known fact that submersibles throughout the years since the wreck was discovered have bumped into the ship from time to time. And it is, he didn't come out and say it, but he certainly implied it that on one of the expeditions that the Titan sub took to the ship, the Titan sub bumped the railing, and that's what knocked it loose. Like I said, he didn't come out and say it directly, but I mean, it's definitely implied if you watch the video. And I would imagine he's probably not the only person who thinks this. There's no way to know for sure. I mean, obviously we'll never know. And of course, that would not have been the expedition where the Titan sub imploded. The Titan sub did make successful dives to the wreck, and one of those dives is where it is alleged that that happened. Go back and watch his video. If you haven't watched the video, it's not that far into the video where he talks about that, maybe 5 minutes or so at the most. Mark says it was a removable handrail that fell off on the port side. Yeah, so what it was, and I'll get the Titanic model here. So, as we all know, and actually it doesn't show this on this model because it's an older, less accurate model. But I mean, we all know Titanic had like this crane right here. You see this little triangular piece sticking up right here at the tip of the bow? That was a crane, and you had an anchor that sat on the deck. It was laying down on the deck, and this crane could pick that anchor up, swing it over the bow, and you could have an extra crane, or extra anchor, basically two anchors on either side of the ship. That hand railing that we're seeing right here that's missing, that section, it's a 15-foot section. It was removable, and that was what I see something about a certain theory that disgusts me. I'm going to comment on that in a second. That is what that is the section that was fell off or knocked off, whatever your interpretation wants to be. Steve says that makes sense to me. Mark says could be true, and it could be, but we cannot prove it one way or another. So it's one of those things where, just like so many things with Titanic, you got to look at the facts, and since there's no way to conclusively prove one thing one way or another, you have to basically decide for yourself what you're going to believe. Buddy says, there is a theory that the Titanic didn't sink, but it was the RMS Olympic that did. I don't know. That was just a theory I heard. Steve says triggered. Oh boy. No, Steve said, don't chum the waters. Don't chum the waters for the Titaniacs. Mark says, ships were not switched is debunked. Buddy, this is we've talked about it here ad nauseum. My position is that theory has been proven false many times over. The evidence that we have that proves it's the Titanic that sunk is completely overwhelming. There is, and we also have artifacts from Olympic that conclusively prove that Olympic was scrapped as they said she was in 1934-35. Titanic is definitely the ship that is sitting at the bottom of the ocean. If I don't know if you're in anybody's Discord. I don't know if Mark's got a very popular Discord that we're all in. I have my own Discord. If you're not in our Discords and would like to join, we can give you a lot of information about that, because it is 100% conclusive, and no credible expert historian on the planet believes that the ships were switched. So trust me for it. Trust me on this. I won't do you wrong on this. Let's see, Steve. I love the day when YouTube allows you to post gift memes in live chat. Oh boy, that will be the day. So let's look at another picture that came from the RMS Titanic Inc.'s expedition. The goddess Diana statue. This was on the mantle of the fake fireplace that was in the first class lounge on the ship. This is not a new discovery. This was discovered before. I think, but I'm not certain, that when Robert Ballard discovered the wreck in '85, they found this then, or it was one of the subsequent dives. It was kind of forgotten where the statue was, and it just, again, they just forgot where it was. They couldn't find it. It has been, as you can see, RMS Titanic Inc. on this recent expedition rediscovered where the statue is. So hopefully they chronicled the coordinates or whatever. Personally, the rule has always been they do not retrieve any artifacts off of the wreck itself. They've only ever pulled things up from the debris field. You could recover that railing now that fell off, and you could recover this statue because they are in the debris field. At least that's my opinion. Let's see. Steve says, I'm amazed it was never retrieved. I agree. Well, and like I said, now we we can retrieve it because it's in the debris field. And while I'm thinking about that, we're going to switch gears here for a minute. Do you guys think it should be retrieved? What about the railing? The railing is no longer on the wreck itself. It's in the debris field. Do you guys feel like we should recover the railing? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Steve says, yep, you can join White Star Line Discord server. You can also join my Discord server, All American Travels. I'm going to do something here. Let's see. Okay, Steve, you are now a moderator on the chat. So if you could post the links to the Discords, Mark's and mine, and yours if you want, by the way. I would imagine moderators can do that. Karen says, I wish they would show pictures of the Titanic when they first found her, and now I mean before and after. Karen, there are many pictures. We actually have video of that. It is on YouTube where they have video footage. I think it was, I don't remember if it was footage from when they discovered the wreck or it was one of the first dives after they discovered the wreck. But there's like an hour and 20 minute video of right when the wreck was first discovered. And of course, now with technology, all the high def, images or equipment we have now, we can easily compare and contrast what the wreck looks like when it was discovered and what it looks like currently here in 2024. Let's see. Buddy says, my theory on the statue, when the bow of the Titanic hit the sea floor, the statue fell off or came off of the fireplace and settled at the ocean floor. And also, yes, to retrieve the railing and the statues. It's a possible, it is possible that could happen. Another theory could be where when the ship was going down, you had stuff coming out of the backside of the ship as it was falling. So that's another thing that could have happened. Mark says, yes, retrieve everything on the wreck and the debris field. Matt says, railing is probably too brittle to pull up. I don't know, because that stuff is still pretty solid. Like I said, it would still be on the ship if allegedly it was not knocked off of the ship. Again, we just don't know. But Steve agrees with you, Matt. As knowing the degree of corrosion on the railing, I think it should remain there. Well, it probably will. I mean, we don't know. Steve, oh, wow, thank you. Thank you, sir, for giving you moderator. No problem. That's not a problem at all. Thank you for posting those links, by the way. Max says the railing would be cool to see brought up. I agree completely. If it's too brittle to be pulled up, I am fine with it staying where it's at. If they can examine it and do a study of it and see if it is possible to bring it up, I am definitely in favor of bringing it up. Mark says the first class lounge was in the breakup part. Correct. That's why, to me, and like I said, imagine after the breakup, The stern is still sitting on the surface and the bow is plunging down. It's totally possible that things as the bow's going down, you've got stuff just pouring out the backside, the big open hole of the ship. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. A buddy said, at least Titanic's sister ship, the HMHS Britannic, is not too deep. No, you can actually scuba dive to Britannic. It's not easy, but you can. Mark, I love THG demo. Yeah, because we're never going to get the real game, so the demo is what we've got. But it is a nice demo. The beautiful reading and writing room right here. So there we are, guys. Not exactly they kind of butchered the face on this thing. It looks very pixelated, but there it is. The Goddess of Diana statue here in the first class lounge. There's the fake fireplace. Who knows or who remembers where the only functional fireplace on the entire ship was? Who remembers where that was? Mark, Britannic is 402 feet deep. Steve, do you know if anyone found the remains of the ornate overhead light fixture from the first class lounge? Not that I know of, Steve. I can't tell you for certain. I'd be lying if I told you I knew. But he says, I'm still mad they scrapped the Olympic. We are all, to this day, we are still mad that they scrapped Olympic. Could you imagine? And that would be another way we could prove that, the booger eaters who believe in that stupid switch theory, that'd be another way we could prove them wrong. Well, actually, that theory wouldn't exist if Olympic hadn't been scrapped because we would have the ship. Yes, Steve and Mark got it right. The only functional fireplace on the entire ship was in the first class smoking room. Let's see. Can we go through here? No, we can't go through that way. So, but that's the statue, guys, right there. That's the statue that's sitting on the seafloor right here, the goddess Diana. But let's take a mosey on down to the first class smoking room. But here's another little fun trivia. So, where is it commonly referred to in the movies was the last place Thomas Andrews was spotted? Where is he last seen on the ship in the movies? And it's the same for A Night to Remember and James Cameron's Titanic movie. Where was he last seen? Steve, it was awesome that Olympic and Mauritania's interiors were both pieced out and sold. So a lot of the ships remain today. But he says, oh man, Titanic, Olympic, Britannic were all great ships. I could not agree with you more, buddy. We love the Olympians here. They're called the Olympic class, but we call them the Olympians here. Steve, in the smoking room by the mantle. Karen says, by a clock. Yeah, the clock in the smoking room by the mantle. Mark, Max and Mark, both smoking room. Steve, but Mark says, really, last seen by the bridge. So the accepted belief where Thomas Andrews was last seen was on the port side bridge wing with Captain Smith. So here's the port side of the ship right here. And supposedly, as this part of the ship was going under, one of them, it was Andrews and Smith, they were together, and one of them supposedly said to the other, "There's not much time left. She's going fast." And that's when uh, they supposedly just stepped off the ship into the water together. Buddy says in James Cameron's Titanic movie, he was last seen in the first or second class dining room. It was the smoking room, buddy, and we're making our way in there right now. So he was in the James Cameron movie. He's seen right here, and this is the only functioning fireplace on the ship. Steve, be British. Yes, that was a battle cry during the sinking. Be British. So in Cameron's Titanic movie, he's seen adjusting this clock, and Jack and Rose are running through right here. They're running aft, back here, and they stop right here, and Smith's right there. I mean, not Smith. Andrews is right there, and that's when Rose is like, "Won't you make a try for it, Mr. Andrews?" In A Night to Remember, he's also in this room, but he's sitting in a chair, I think looking at his pocket watch. And can you go through here? Yes, you can. So this is where they were heading. Buddy says, I believe Andrews went down with the Titanic. I mean, technically, he did. Was he in the ship when it went underneath below the surface? I don't think he was. I tend to side with what I just described. The idea of him and Smith stepping off the ship together. That is what I believe happened to him. I believe he either froze or drowned in the water. And he says, "Okay, thanks. My Titanic history is rusty. No worries, buddy. We've got a lot of Titanic folks here. We know these ships back and forth. If you're interested in the Queen Mary, Steve here is our expert on the Queen Mary. He can tell you anything and everything just about that you want to know about that ship. So, and he's been on a few of the past live streams. So if you ever got questions about the Queen Mary, you can ask Steve. One of our regulars is not here this evening. His name is Wolflord. He is like our military or warships, Navy ship kind of guy. He knows more about different military vessels than any of us do. So we got a lot of people with with a lot of knowledge about different ships. So you're in good company. If ever you got questions, we will do our best to answer them, either on the live stream or in the Discord. Steve says, "Oh, more than you would probably ever want to know." Right? Okay, we're switching gears to something else, guys. Just give me a second here to pull it up. My computer is it's a little slow. You would think a computer that's only 3 years old wouldn't be so outdated, but it is, unfortunately. So, about to load something up here. Steve says, Victor Garber was the perfect actor to play Andrews. Yes, and Victor Garber is the person who played Thomas Andrews in James Cameron's Titanic. I do not know the name of the actor that portrayed Andrews in A Night to Remember. Let's see. Okay. And here we go. Buddy asks, how long will it take for Britannic to be fully gone like Titanic? It's gonna take Britannic a whole lot longer than Titanic, buddy, because, as Mark already said in the chat, Britannic is in a whole lot better shape than Titanic is. She's much better preserved than Titanic is. So we're going to go to sandbox. We're going to go to the bow. We've got about 15 minutes left or so of the stream. We're going to spend it exploring Titanic in the safest way that we can on this game. Now I just got to remember how to work the controls. So, let's see. It's been a while since I've messed with this. I don't think I've messed with this since the last time we took a look at it. Yes, new object, explore the Titanic. Well, yeah, that's what we want to do. So, Steve says, Michael Goodlife played Andrews in A Night to Remember. Buddy says it's too late to raise, too bad it's too late to raise Britannic. Yeah, it's not going to be possible to raise Britannic either, unfortunately, even though she's much better preserved. There are different laws that apply to Britannic, and I forget all the intricate differences. But Britannic is treated as a war grave because, of course, she was a hospital ship when she sunk. And look at that big mound here, guys. So we're getting close to the bow here. I forget. There used to be a way you could... there we go. That's what I want to do. Yeah, Mark says Britannic, like Titanic, would fall apart. I don't think Britannic is quite as brittle as Titanic is, but more than likely, yes. Oh, look at that, guys. Here we go. Seeing her coming out of the darkness like a ghost ship gets me every single time. You all know what that's from, right? So here we are. We're at the bow. See the port side anchor, and there's the railing right there. Matt says at least you're not on the Titan sub. Well, no one's ever going to be on that sub again. But a Titanic depth 12,500 feet. So we're on the port side, and this is where that railing would be, that removable railing that fell. Stevie, you remember the quote. Max, I believe Britannic is one of the most well-preserved shipwrecks. She probably is. I've also heard that USS Johnston is also a very well-preserved wreck. It's one of the deepest shipwrecks on the planet. It makes Titanic look like it's in a swimming pool. That's how deep the Johnston is. And the Johnston is a sister ship to Kidd right there. Buddy, I can't believe she's almost gone. Well, for another 100 years. I think even in 100 years from now, the ship will have significantly deteriorated, but it's still going to be, even in 100 years, recognizable as the Titanic. Mark says Britannic is considered the largest passenger ship on the ocean floor. Well, if we're referring to the fact that, you know, she's still intact, well, yeah, you're right. Because even if Titanic was still intact, Britannic was still the larger of the two vessels. Buddy says, by the way, I went on USS Kidd before. Amazing ship. She certainly is, Buddy. I live pretty close to the Kidd, so I have, as far as museum ships, I have been on the Kidd more than any other ship. I go to the museum quite often. I do make donations to the ship when I can, especially during the dry dock period, because you know, we want her to come back or get as much TLC done in the shipyard while she's there. So in another 60 years, it'll be before they've got to put her back in the shipyard. You know, long after none of us are here anymore. Well, most of us. I don't know what you guys' ages are. Buddy's also been to USS Alabama. I have been. Alabama is the second most visited museum ship I've been to. I went to the Alabama, I think in March I went to the Alabama. I usually go to the Alabama once or twice a year. I live relatively close to Mobile. Like I said, I live really close to the Kidd. So I frequent both ships quite a bit. Good to see we've got another museum ship guy in here. And Steve here, like I said, Steve's our Queen Mary expert. He goes to the Queen Mary like every other month. It's funny how you can still see the differences in the paint. Steve says, Titanic will remain for over 1,000 years in one way or another, and there are certain items that will never decompose. That is correct. So we know for certain, 100% for certain, the propellers are not going away anytime soon. The propellers are made of bronze. They are incredibly resistant to corrosion. So even after the propeller shafts that the propellers are still attached to corrode and go away, the propellers are still going to be there. Matt says, I'd like to go check out the Texas one day. As you guys know, I did do the dry dock tour for the Texas. That was a pretty special event for me. Still no word on Kidd doing dry dock tours. They need to hurry up and make a decision one way or another as far as that goes. Steve says, once the hull loses structure and begins to collapse, she will start to spill out all the interior items. And she's essentially going to pancake on top of herself. You know, one deck is going to collapse on top of another, and then those two on top of another, and so forth and so on, until it's basically pancaked on the bottom of the ocean floor. Karen says, I missed your answer to what other ship went through hurricanes in different cities. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So, guys, I asked this question earlier. I don't know if anybody ever answered. Two World War II vessels that are currently museum ships rode out hurricanes in two different cities. Does anyone know which two ships I'm talking about? Buddy says, at least we have some ships that haven't been scrapped yet. Well, as far as the museum ships go, Buddy, as long as they're profitable, they are not going to be scrapped. Now, this is really old, guys. Because you can see the crow's nest is still attached to the mast here. We know the crow's nest is no longer there. So that's how we know this is a very old representation of the wreck. There's A deck right there. Here's boat deck. Here's what's left of the bridge. Mark is still sad that Titanic and Britannic never had a life like Olympic. I couldn't agree more, Mark. But they are still our Olympians. They will always be our Olympians. So yeah, right here, guys, we were talking about where Smith and Andrews would have been. Here we go. Here is, you can see the port side bridge wing would have been this spot right here where this window is. You can see it's collapsed forward. Allegedly, this is where they stepped off the ship into the ocean. Steve must leave, dinner time. No problem, Steve. Thanks for hanging out with us. You pretty much stayed the whole stream anyway, Steve, because we're going to be wrapping it up in a few minutes here. Steve, that's why I think the USS US is better off as an artificial reef. She will be around for centuries. Most definitely. All right. The answer to that question, guys, 2 World War II vessels serving as museum ships that rode out hurricanes in 2 different cities, the Kidd and the Texas, USS Texas BB-35. Those 2 are the only World War II vessels serving as museum ships that have rode out hurricanes in 2 different cities. If you can think of any other ones, feel free to let me know. I'm sure someone will correct me later in the comments if I am wrong. But those are the only 2 I can come up with. So here we are exploring around. This would be right here, this section. You can see the telemotor right there. That would have been, that's what's left of the wheelhouse. That would have been the main one where they steered the ship. Here's the officers' quarters. Don't know if you can see Smith's bathtub in this one. The gaping hole where the first funnel would have been. And that's this right here is the first expansion joint. And moving aft. Let's see. Here's the first class entrance right here. This door that's all filled in, here's where the gym would have been. Buddy says, still surprised the Titanic split in half and the bow survived the pressure. The bow sank. The bow section came out a whole lot better, buddy, because the fact that the bow was already filled with water when she went down, whereas the stern was still full of air when it went under. And the stern, much like the Titan sub, because it still had all that air in it, it imploded as it was going down. And that's why the stern is in such the horrific shape that it's in. Mark says Jim is fully collapsed now. Yep, and look, you can even see it right here. We're looking at where the breakup happened. You can see how the decks are just kind of falling all on top of each other. Oh, Ozzy. The swimming pool joke. We'll close out, guys. Mark brought up the Titan sub in the beginning. The last words or the last messages sent from the Titan sub to the surface ship have been revealed by the Coast Guard. There's currently a 2-week hearings going on about the Titan sub. According to all the news media, one of the last messages was all good here. And I watched like a simulation of where the sub was in proximity to the ship and how far down it was when these messages were being sent. And if, assuming those are correct, the last message they sent was dropped 2 weights. And that was sent before the sub reached the wreck site. Matt says, what are those tanks we're looking at? These are the boilers, Matt. These are some of Titanic's boilers. She had 29 boilers total. And here's 5 of them right here. Buddy, what did happen to the SS Californian? Did it sink also or no? Buddy, are you talking about the Californian, the ship that was like 12 miles or so away from Titanic and did not respond to the wireless messages? Is that the ship you're referring to? Ozzy, was the sub found in front the bow? Yeah. What was left of the sub, Ozzy, was found, I think, like 200 meters, yards, whatever, in front of the bow of the ship. Buddy, yes. So, yes, buddy, unfortunately, the Californian and the Carpathia, the ship that rescued Titanic's survivors, both of those ships were torpedoed and sunk in World War I. And there's actually a real authentic photo of the Carpathia being sunk. It was taken from the German U-boat that torpedoed her. Mark says dropping weights was normal when getting close to the wreck. Okay. Ozzy, was the Californian hit by a torpedo? Yes, the Californian was torpedoed and sunk. I'm gonna have to take your word on that, Mark. I don't know enough about the that sub, or really any sub, to say one way or another. So, having said that, we're going to descend back down, and we'll just kind of park right here. And this will be like our kind of our closing shot here. Buddy says, Shane, the Carpathia was a hero. She most certainly was. Mark, it just suddenly imploded without warning. That's, the horrible thing, and, we've talked about the Titan sub thing a lot. There's nothing good to say about that whole situation at all, but drowning is one of the things that is like one of my worst fears of ways to go. Drowning is at like the top of the list for me. I'm terrified of like drowning. So in their situation, they didn't drown. They didn't even have time to realize it happened before, it happened. Matt says, perhaps some have punched through Titanic over the years. Buddy says, rip for Titanic, Britannic, Olympic, Carpathia, Lusitania, the Titan sub. Yes, definitely. Guys, before we go, we're about to wrap it up here. I've got one last thing to show you guys. Before we go, I was hoping to have this complete before I started the live stream tonight, but I didn't, but still. Mark, drowning and being burned alive is the worst deaths. Yeah, both of them absolutely terrify me, Mark. I would never want to go either one of those ways. So, here, take a look at this, guys. You know what this is. This is my current progress on Britannic. 3 of the 4 funnels are installed. The 4th funnel is assembled, but I have not had a chance to install it yet. That will be done this weekend. Once I've got the 4th funnel installed, I will finally be able to put this deck onto the rest of the hull, and that will officially be the home stretch to finishing my model of Britannic. Ozzy says, how about them Cowboys? How about when the Saints went into Dallas last week and embarrassed them on their own field, and Derek Carr did a Michael Jackson dance on their field? Who that? Max says, very nice, James. Thank you, Max. Yep, so it's not much longer, guys. Britannic is going to be completed relatively soon, and she will be joining us on the shelf. Buddy, I made up my own ships. They are called the RMS Oil Tanks and the RMS Big Titanic. Okay. Ozzy, now they get the Ravens. Yeah. I got a buddy who's someone I'm close to. It's a big Cowboys fan, and yeah, he wasn't too happy last weekend. Buddy, I made a fictional story about the Big Titanic coming October 15th. Cool. Well, there's a self-promotion channel in the Discord. Feel free to post anything that you want in that channel on the Discord. So, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this week. I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with me as always. I know we were gone for a couple of weeks, but we're back. And as we just mentioned, Britannic, tomorrow is September 21st. On November 21st of this year is the 108th anniversary of the sinking of Britannic. So you know the live stream that week will be completely dedicated to Britannic. We will, of course, be looking at Patroness of the Mediterranean and talking about Britannic. Our content is scheduled as soon as I get it back on track, because it was off track because of the hurricane. Our live streams are every Friday evening, 7 o'clock U.S. Central Time. The video of the week is every Friday morning at 7 a.m. And our weekly video shorts are 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. Everyone says, awesome stream. Yep. Thank you, guys. The stream is nothing without you guys. You guys give me somebody to talk to while I'm doing this. So you guys make the stream more awesome than you realize. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. And as always, until the next time, you guys know the drill. Drive safely.